Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I wanted to do a video today on relationship perspectives that really helped me with ROCD, which was one of my biggest themes for many years. And I thought I would bring some insights that might also help you see things from a different, more accepting and balanced angle as well. But before I go into all of that, please like this video, subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in our coaching services, you can also tap the link in the description below and it'll take you to our WhatsApp chat. And you can ask us anything about our services and get started with us, of course. So, I think I've written down some points over here that I really want to go through one by one. And the first one, right off the bat, I think that I want to really highlight is that understanding that relationships have a shelf life, right? And while like initially it might seem a little bit of a cynical and negative perspective of like, oh, what do you mean that relationships can't or don't last forever? Like, why would I want to believe that? Because I mean, doesn't that take you in a hopeless place? But actually, honestly, like when you start to see that relationships do have a time limit quite often, and this, by the way, this goes for not just romantic relationships, this goes for even friendships and even family relationships as well, because like there's no guarantee that each relationship will go on till the end of your life, right? So understanding this and really accepting this as a fact also helps give a healthy reality check, and at the same time helps you be even more invested in the relationship, because you know that this can be potentially short lived. So might as well then be more invested in it without seeming like, oh, like everything depends on it, like my entire life depends on this one singular relationship, because relationships have a shelf life anyway, because I mean, because of death itself, right? So the whatever dynamic you have with someone is going to end one day, whether it is you breaking up or that person deciding not to talk to you or that person like ending their friendship with you. It's or someone dying, it's going to end either way, right? So when we're able to really embrace that as a fact, it helps like bring us in the present moment, and it helps be more proactive in that dynamic as well, in a good way, right? Not in an incessant way, but just helps us bring more balance, more calmness, but also more gratitude as well, that I have this relationship, I am in this relationship with a person. We've known each other for X amount of time and we still continue to know each other, and it makes you embrace that reality in a really good, healthy, sustainable way as well. The second point I want to bring up on is it's also okay that the best that you've had in a relationship or friendship is a thing of the past. A lot of people with relationship OCD are also thinking that, oh no, but like with my ex, it was more this and more that. Like it was maybe more passionate, there was more attraction, there was more humor, and there was more this and that, whatnot. Even in friendships, right? People say that the friends that you have right now are the friends that, I mean, it's not the kind of friendship that you had back in school or college, or you want to have that again. Again, those are things that, I mean, in fact, like, here's another gratitude perspective as well, that because you've had the best in the past, I mean, at least you got to experience that in the first place, whatever the best you think it is, right? At least you got to experience it in the first place. But that does not mean that it has to or should continue till the rest of time as well. That thing needs to be replicated, and that thing needs to constantly stay on in life, right? Because these things change. Even with a relationship with one singular person, you might have had the best time in the past, and now it has calmed down. You know, like I think typically we can also say that your relationships in your teen years are just like very volatile, but also in a very fun way as well, because it's a very there are more like games involved in it, and you're trying to figure out what's happening, and you know, you're a little more careless, again in a fun way, right? You're more careless, you don't like you're a little more irresponsible, you take a few more risks and things like that, right? But those things, and even in your 20s, there's like, you go through that time period, but eventually it becomes tiring, right? And it also is not sustainable anymore, and eventually like things calm down. So, and it doesn't have to be that this is the best and that is the best. Like, it's just that that was a different thing and this is a different thing now. And what you did in your teens and your 20s is also not something that's then doable in your 30s and your 40s and so on, right? And these dynamics also change. So I think that if you're someone who's thinking that, oh, I had a certain kind of relationship in the past and I really want to replicate that now with my current partner or my current friendship, or my family dynamic that used to happen in the past needs to like be recreated and reinstalled now. um, you don't have to do that. Like, you can also, because a lot of people have changed, circumstances have changed, desires have changed, priorities have changed. And to keep recreating that keeps us in a loop of not evolving and adapting. Rather, we stay very stationary and still stuck in the past, which often is not a great look for many people. The third point I want to highlight is, which kind of like ties in with this as well, is allowing people to change. This is the other thing. Like, when in friendships or relationships, I think one of the biggest insecurities that comes with lack of other acceptance, right? Which is that this person is going to change or this person is changing. What if like it completely, completely what's that word, transforms like what we have right now, and what we have right now is good, so what if it transforms into something that is not good, right? So unconditional other acceptance is really important here, where you also have to become comfortable and also allow the other person to make changes to their life, their personality, their desires, their priorities, their goals, and not have them be the same person. Like, nobody wants to be the same across many years. Even in a relationship, people want the relationship to evolve and change. They don't want it to remain the same as well. So, and it's in very subtle ways, I think we try to make people be the same person. We try to keep them the same. We try to keep ourselves the same, because it's like, no, I don't want to change. This is not who I am. This is not who I want to be. But you have to understand that it's a separate individual, and yes, they might be in a relationship or a friendship with you, but that does not mean that they're also not someone separate in their own way. And accepting lack of control is a big one over here that you'll have to get comfortable with. And also, like, it's healthier to let people change within a relationship rather than keeping them the exact same person, because that makes things boring. But also, like, even in so many ways, like practically speaking as well, it's not a great option too, because if a person is not like evolving and adapting to new things in life, then they're also not giving themselves better opportunities, they're not building a life forward, they're not like constructively going towards their goals. They're not bringing new insights and wisdom into the relationship, and especially as a parent, I would say it's so important to be able to have that, right? But if, of course, like with relationship OCD, it's going to be like, no, the change is the thread. So and then a lot of reassurance seeking and confessing and checking if that person is doing something different, if that person wants something different, blah blah blah. Fourth thing is that safety and stability in relationships is very important, especially as you grow up. And so, I mean, this is important to understand, because with relationship OCD sufferers, what they're looking for in their marriage or with their partners is, there's this like intense love and desire and passion and sex drive and this and that, and it's a very curated kind of image that you're trying to achieve in a relationship. But if you and also because those are the kind of stories that we see being propped up in on social media, in movies and television and everything, so, and books. So those are the kind of things that we also are like, oh, this is what I kind of want. But I think far far more, I think the relationships that are created in life are not done for that like fire and passion and constant like throbbing love. It's more it's more for safety and stability and security. A lot of people are long term looking for that because stability and security is everything uh, to most human beings. It also, I mean, complements our survivalist instincts, right? Everyone wants to survive in the best way possible. No one wants to survive um, with really, really struggling with survival. So if you're in a relationship that provides that, that is what people will be drawn towards. Now, with an ROCD sufferer, what will happen is it's going to be like, no, but this is the safe option. I don't want to be with the safe option. I want to be with the option that makes me truly happy or gives me that passion and drive. And again, you don't have to aim for that, and you can have both as well. Even in safe, secure relationships, like passion and drive are things that come and go. They ebb and flow, right? It's you can't be constantly 24/7 passionate about the relationship at all times. Just like if you're in your dream job, you're not waking up every day and being like, oh, today I feel so passionate about it, I want to give my 100% to this. No, there it is. You're like, I don't want to do this. I kind of wish I could just turn my brain off and just like not think about this. So, and so that goes for anything, even with relationships themselves. It's about really getting comfortable with those ebbs and flows and ups and downs in emotion, in passion, in attraction, in love, in chemistry with the other person, that we have to start making more room for. But again, again, safety and stability, especially I think like around your 30s, mid 30s onwards, that's what you're then kind of like craving. Safety and stability with most human beings, I think. Because that kind of like early like your teens and your 20s kinds of like relationships, that's not doable when you're older, especially when you after you have kids. I think that's definitely not as doable, not as frequently, I would say. But I mean, who knows? I mean, there might be someone out there who's doing that. For me, I think the earlier thing that I mentioned was about like relationships having a shelf life. I think for me, and this is honestly this a perspective that really just helps me in life in general, is that whether you spend 5 years with someone or whether you spend 50 years with someone, I think there's gratitude in both. There should be gratitude in both, and there's benefit in both of those things. Just because something ended does not mean it was horrible. The end does not have to justify the whole. Let's put it that way, right? Um, you can be someone who spent a few really good years with someone, but that not being something that was doable or sustainable for longer term. And that is also fine. It doesn't have to be that, oh, just because that relationship ended for whatever reason means that the entirety of it was useless or a waste of time. No, I mean, you got to spend some amazing moments with people, and like you it's better to have met those people than, I think, not having met them at all, right? And this goes for friendships as well. Like I've had friendships that have lasted 3 years. I've had friendships that have lasted 6 years. I've had friendships that have lasted 7 years. And for me, it's not that that because the friendships ended, therefore I wasted my time, or they don't mean anything in my history to me. No, like they still mean a lot to me, because those friendships were extremely relevant to me in that period of my life. They gave me a lot of support. They gave me a lot of humor. They gave me a lot of memories. They gave me so much to look forward to on a daily basis. Um, it's just not a part of my life anymore, and again, that can be okay. I think when school was ending, when I finished my A levels, I think that's when like this realization started to really hit me, that because a lot of friendships at that time start to fade away on their own. It's not even that it has to end in a kind of like falling out or anything, even though I've had a couple of those as well in the past. um, but majority, I think it was like, stuff faded away, and I think I started getting very comfortable with that because I understood that, times were changing, people were changing, circumstances were changing, desires and needs were changing. People, it wasn't that same, hey, let's hang out and stay up all night kind of energy anymore. People like just wanted to live life differently. But then I think that bothered other people quite a bit sometimes, because it was like, why are you not bothered about the fact that we haven't talked in so long? Or why are you not bothered about the fact that we have not met up in so long? Why are you not bothered about the fact that we don't know what's going on in each other's lives? And to me, the thing was like, I just didn't want to force anything. And like, there was, I mean, it's bittersweet, right? You feel it's kind of sad to, like, for things to fade away, something that used to be really thriving and really amazing at some point. But then if it kind of like fades away, it's just like, yeah, I mean, you can't force it to be something that it used to be. So for me, it was just like a very, even at that time, this is way before OCD recovery, but this is like, there was a lot of acceptance in that change, but it bothered other people that, like, if I didn't feel the same way. So yeah, I mean, I think when you try to force like any friendship, any relationship to like continue forever and be like, no, I need to keep making this work like forcefully, it just, um, you're going to bring more anxiety to it. You're going to bring more disturbance and upsetness to it. In fact, if you kind of like take a step back and let things be, you actually might be able to sustain the friendship or relationship for longer term, just because you're not like bringing this, like, you're not feeding it this like franticness constantly. Or you might have more acceptance that this is fading away and it needs to part. And this is a point that, again, a lot of ROCD sufferers watching right now are like, wait, like, if I'm trying to force my relationship with my partner, does that mean it's bound to end and I shouldn't be doing that? Oh my god, this is like, the end of it. But yeah, I mean, good trigger, first of all, good exposure. Secondly, it's also like a case by case thing, which is why like one-to-one calls are important as well, because no blanketed advice goes for each situation. And yeah, that's all I'll say on this, because there's so much more to break down, and this can be then like a completely separate video. But like, just explaining my perspective and my experience with friendships and relationships, which I think just helped me transition in and out of so many dynamics I was in. The sixth thing I want to mention is, it's also unrealistic to not have feelings for exes. um, in fact, like, I think it's really like, because your ex relationships form a very important part of your memory, and your entire like emotional makeup as well. Because you carry those things in your history with you. All future relationships that you have are in some ways or another influenced by your past choices and relationships as well. The things that you had in the past that you liked, you want to have them in your future relationships, and the things that you did not like are the things you do not want in your future relationships. So your future choices become kind of like a reflection of your past choices. And again, just because your relationship ended with someone in the past does not mean that you should not or can't have feelings for them. In fact, like, it would be, I would say, unrealistic if you don't have feelings for them, especially if it ended on an amicable note. I mean, if it was like the worst, like messiest breakup. By the way, even then, even if it's like a super messy breakup or like a bad breakup, like people still have like there's still parts of that relationship that people miss quite a lot, because your ex might have been really good at certain things that he brought to the table in a relationship. He might be doing things that he might be paying attention to little things of what you liked, what you didn't like, and whatnot. Like, I mean, there can be something or the other that you can cherish about it, but just because someone is an ex doesn't mean it has to like equate with hatred. because that's what people are trying to go for. They're like, oh, if I have any kind of like, any affection or nice feeling towards like my ex or anything that he or she did, then oof, that means that my current relationship is in big trouble. Like, you can, like I think the current relationship I'm in does not have what my first relationship had, and my first relationship was pretty amazing in many aspects, which are not present in my current relationship. But I'm also then not trying to create those amazing parts in this current one, because again, it happened in the past. I don't need to have it now. Just because I had the best does not mean I have to have the best now. What was the best at that time maybe would not be the best right now. Maybe this, what I have right now, is more suitable to me. Um, Again, I think even viewing things from that angle of like what constitutes as the best, right? Is that high kind of feeling that you get in a relationship, or is it more or like again, stability and security, is that the best, suitability is also suitability of to circumstances. I think that's so important in relationships as well. So like maybe that's the best thing, and maybe not that emotional high. So even that equation of the best, like what does that even mean, we can go a little like micro on that, macro, I'm not sure. Basically, we can go a little meta on that as well and be like, what does the best even mean? Which is an important question, but yeah, I think like if you're trying to aim for having hatred or no feelings towards your ex, then firstly you're setting yourself up for failure, and then the second thing is that you're also doing yourself a disservice over here because you're trying to deny a part of your entire like history and something that does influence you. And the approach you're going to bring to your current or future relationships is going to be unrealistic as well then, because it's not going to take into account what has happened. And also you're then possibly setting yourself up for lifelong bitterness as well, because if you're trying to aim for hatred, then I mean it's very easy to hate, and it's very easy to let that stick in your life as well. So not a great feeling, and doesn't provide us any long-term benefits either. Um, the seventh thing I want to mention is that, responsibility of feelings in a relationship is on both people. So classically, relationship OCD sufferers will be like, no, but like I'm leading them on, and I'm deceiving them, and I'm wasting their time. I'm giving them the wrong impression. They don't know the truth about me, of who I am. And especially people with like POCD, harm OCD, or cheating OCD, a fear of being in the wrong relationship, they're having these feelings. But like and even after you have confessed your thoughts and feelings to them, your partner is often still staying with you as well. So but I mean, what you're not taking into account over here, like you're really making this all about yourself, which is, I think, just not a great thing for you or for the other person either. You're completely taking away the other person's responsibility and accountability in this entire dynamic, but because they're also willing to stay in a relationship with an OCD sufferer who wants, all they want to do is confess, and all they want to do is seek reassurance. So and they, if even if they've heard their boyfriend or their girlfriend express doubts about the relationship and stuff like that, they're still sticking around. So that's on them then. Whatever happens in the end is also on them for continuing to stick with someone who is expressing doubts about the relationship. So you really have to keep that in mind, because, and this is where also other acceptance comes in, which is that you're not, that like accepting that the other person is also willingly putting themselves in the situation. The other person is also responsible for themselves. They're accountable to themselves, and their feelings and their thoughts are like one separate individual. So they can have their opinion, they can have their choices, that that can or cannot be like just completely like your doing. So I mean, they're not your doing, but is what I'm trying to say. It because it comes both ways, and it's important to understand that other half and acknowledge the other half of that, of what exists that way. And the last thing I want to mention is, and this is the other thing that is like, the classic at the heart of all relationship OCD suffering is, breaking up is not the worst thing in the world. um, and I think that people with relationship OCD who are suffering with, should I stay or should I break up? What's the right choice or what's the wrong choice? I also did a video recently on making the right choice, and I think like, if you're interested in what, the beliefs and the fears that go behind making the right or wrong choice, I think that video would be a helpful one for you. But like, it's so like important to understand that it's not about what decision you make. It's more about how you adapt and change to the circumstances that come with it, right? So whether you decide to stay is not horrible in itself, because your perspective of it is what is again driving the entire thing. And if you decide to break up, is also not the worst thing, because your perspective of it will make you think it's the worst thing. So it's about having that. I mean, I know how this sounds, but it's really about also having that like confidence as well, to be like, whatever circumstances come, or whatever effects come with either of those situations, that you can and will be able to handle it. And even if you don't have that confidence, because I was someone who was not confident in my decision making at all, it was still okay to do things while I wasn't confident and while I was not completely certain about things either. In fact, I think those are some of the things that gave me my biggest breakthroughs as well, because I thought that, hey, I mean, I was still able to do things with lack of confidence, with lack of certainty. So if I can do it with lack of it, then I can do pretty much a lot of things. So then when I did start building confidence and like a little bit more clarity in thought, it just helped build more and more, I think, stability in myself, and I felt really solid in myself for like, even when I wasn't confident about my decision, I would still think, I was at least confident about the fact that whatever repercussions come with this, I'll find a way. I'll just find a way, because that is literally the only option I have to find a way. It might take me a short while, or it might take me a long while, but I'll find a way. And I think that's what has gotten me through a lot of situations in life as well. So yeah, there again, there's so many discussions on like relationships as well. Like, if I could have, I think I could have added like maybe even 10 more points to like what, because there's so many, like, understanding relationships comes with so much sociological discussion, historical, philosophical, psychological, emotional. Like, there's so many different things to discuss when it comes to relationship perspectives. So I could easily like add a lot to this, but I thought I would just narrow it down to some of these, because these are some of the ones that I think, if you really look into it in a more philosophical way, these are also the ones that helped me the most in my relationship OCD journey. But I hope this was helpful. I hope this brought you some insight and give you something new to think about. I'll be here with another video soon, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.